Hello, my name's Emma. I am a UK-based crochet enthusiast. I have a blog, lululoves.co.uk, where I write about crochet, patterns, my works in progress. I also run crochet workshops locally, and I've just decided that I would have a go at blogging or podcasting. Just to see, really, just to have a go. I've been watching some lovely podcasts recently. Sandra Cherry Heart, I love her designs. Emma from Potter and Bloom, and another one I've been watching recently is Lottie and Albert, and I love her as well. So I thought I'd have a go. We'll see how I get on. I don't much like looking at my face, and I'm doing that a lot because I'm filming on my phone, so I also have a tendency to overshare when I'm nervous. So I think maybe the safest thing for everyone involved is if I just crack on and talk about the crochet. I only have one finished item to show, which is a little bit poor, I acknowledge that, but hey ho. And the first item are these lovely crochet mittens. I have made these using a skein of Nora Jones yarn in the colour Crocus. It's I've got the label here, I'll just have a look. It's 100% superwash merino, and it's in an Aran weight, which is lovely. I've had it hanging around for a little while, and I've been waiting for the right pattern really, but it's getting a bit colder, so I thought it would make a lovely pair of mittens. I'm really, really pleased with them. The pattern actually is from a book. I had a look through all my crochet books to see if I could find something, and I did. I found it in this book, Crocheted Gifts by Kim Worker, and it's a really lovely simple pattern. You start with the shell or the cluster pattern at the beginning there, and then you just work up in single crochet or UK, what's that, double crochet, and then you increase for the fun, which was slightly different to the way I would usually do it, but I think that's the nice thing about trying other people's patterns, isn't it? You get to see how everyone else does things, and then you just continue up. And I think the beauty about the simplicity of it is that you can see all these lovely colours. And purple, I think, is a colour that really divides opinion. I don't personally mind it, but I think if you mix it with other colours like this lovely yellow and these browns, you just get such a beautiful effect. And it always reminds me of my nan as well, because purple was her favourite colour, and she had a copy of that poem by Jenny Joseph, When I'm Old I Will Wear Purple. So it makes me happy. I like reminding myself of her. I'll try them on for you because they are lovely. These have been spotted by my 17-year-old, which is a little bit sad because it means they're probably going to go to her and I will lose them. But they're lovely. I love that cuff and the colours. Can't stop looking at them. I'm not really sure whereabouts in the camera I'm supposed to be looking, but you can just see. It's gorgeous and it's so lovely and soft. I think these would make a really lovely Christmas gift or birthday gift. You know, you can give someone that lovely, unique hand-dyed yarn, and you've sort of lovingly made something from it for them. So that is my first project to show you. I'm very happy with those. I think I might like to make another pair really. A really quick make. I made them up in a weekend. So, excuse me, that's that. The reason I don't have any more finished objects is because I have a lot of works in progress. So I will show you some of those. The first one, I'll show you the biggest one, is a blanket that I'm making for my son. I'm not a very good blanket maker. I get bored quite easily. It tends to take me about a year to finish a blanket. I have made several. I've made a lovely granny square one in pastel colours for Lulu. last year I made almost like a university blanket, really. It was for her to take away for my eldest daughter, and big granny squares in colours that she picked, and I gave that to her for Christmas. She loves that. So my son is the only one that doesn't have one. So I started this, I think I probably started it around Easter. I'm using this lovely pattern that I found on Instagram. I can't remember the designer, but I'll try and find a way to link it or list it below. And I'm just using, it's for a single bed, it is quite big. I'm just using paint box, Aran acrylics, and they're lovely and soft. And I was trying to go for this sort of ombre effect. And I was a bit disappointed with myself, really, because in my excitement to start, I'd forgot that I had another colour on order, a lighter grey to go here. And I'd got several repeats in before I realised, and it arrived. Didn't have the heart to start again, so I just sort of put the blanket down because I was cross, and I ignored it for a while. But I picked it back up and I've been enjoying working on it again, and I'm not going to hold that against the blanket. So yeah, that's working out really well, and that's lovely. I just do a couple of rows of an evening when I feel like it, and then put it down again. The other thing about this blanket is I made a bit of a rookie error when I started. I don't know if I can, excuse me, it's quite big now, so I measured, where is it? Oh, it's here. I measured the bed by eye, well, both my eyes, and it was really, really too long. And you can see I've got several colours in before I start to think, this is actually a really big blanket. So I went back up and I used my tape measure and realised it was nearly double the size, and I didn't have the heart to make another double blanket. So I've just, from when I noticed, I've just carried on. So I'm just sort of ignoring this big tail. I'm just working up in the right size. And I think what I will try to do when I've finished is somehow, it's so hard to show you, somehow cut along there and either crochet or sew them in. I hope it works, because it will be really sad if I finish a blanket to only realise that I'd ruined it right at the beginning. So that is that. I'm working away at that. Another work in progress, I really love this one, is these really super sized bobbles. Oh, it's upside down actually, there we go. Can you see those? Ooh, look at those. They are worked up. Oh, I'm just not very good at this, am I? They are worked up over 2 rows, and they just give these lovely... My daughter actually asked if they'd been stuffed, but they haven't. They're just massive, massive bobbles. And I worked this project up using I don't know how to say that, but it was the Roma Big Rainbow. It's 100% acrylic, and it's a super chunky. It's so pretty though. I think the thing that drew me to it was the colours. It's almost got this sort of sheen to it, this pearlized sheen. It's really soft, and the colour changes are just so subtle, sort of greens and purples in there. So I think I'm going to write this pattern up. I haven't finished it because I haven't figured out how I'm going to close it. I didn't have enough yarn to do a standard size pillow with this, so I've just got one of those tiny little IKEA stuffers in there just so that I can show you really. I'm going to write this one up, and I think I will pop it on the blog as maybe a free pattern, because I think you could do lots of different projects with this stitch pattern. So I'm currently making a couple of these in some different chunky yarn so that I can see how the bobbles work out, and I've also just started one in some Aran yarn just to see, you know, how big they really are, whether it's the yarn or the stitch. But I really, really love that. gorgeous, isn't it? Ooh, bubbles. Bubble mad anyway, so that's that. So that's a project that I'm working on. So hopefully there'll be something on the blog about that one soon if I can get my rear in gear. So that's another thing that I'm working on. How many times have I said that? Is there life on Mars? Who knows? Lost my train of thought now. Oh yes, so I'll show you this. So it's another work in progress. Over the weekend, I have been getting my head around a pattern that I'm writing for a shawl, and I've been waiting for the yarn to arrive so that I can make it up. I had sort of itchy crochet fingers and really wanted to start something else, even though, you know, I had plenty to do, let's be honest. So a little while ago there was a cowl called the Hotel of Bees cowl, and bought the yarn for it and thought, oh, I'm going to join in, I can't wait. But life happened. We've been redecorating our house, and then I was ill, and I just never got the time to join in. So I already had the yarn, I didn't have the pattern. So over the weekend I bought the pattern. It's it's the Hotel of Bees shawl, I've said that, haven't I? And it's by Christina Haddering, I think. Christina Haddering. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself somehow. So I've started, and it's lovely. I've got it in my, oh, I'm all caught up. If you were expecting a professional podcast, I'm sorry. Anyway, here it is. Here's the start. There we go. So I've done the wings down there, and the first part of the sort of honeycomb stitch, and I've just got onto these beautiful little bees. I think this might be my favourite part. Can you see the way the puff stitches and these two little gaps here make the wings? Aren't they lovely? It's not very neat. I haven't obviously blocked it because I'm still working on it. I think this one will be finished quite quickly because it's the project that I've been wanting to work on the most. So hopefully, oh, my tummy's rumbling. That's embarrassing. Hopefully that one will be finished soon, and I'm using some really nice yarn. I've got these two balls. I've got a third colour as well, which I haven't wound yet. But look at this colour. That's like a lovely russet ball of scrumptious. And actually, it's called scrumptious. It's scrumptious 4-ply. It is 4-ply sports superwash, 45% silk, 55% superwash merino. It's really nice. It's so soft. It's softer than I thought when I first was rolling it. I wasn't 100% sure how it would, but it's so incredibly soft. That really is a luxury yarn, isn't it? So it's well deserved on this beautiful pattern, I think. I don't often make dainty things, so this is a real treat. So I love that. So I don't know if I've got the colours on there. If I can, that colour is burnt orange. The other one, probably something. Yes, it's natural. And then I've got a lovely pink to go, but I've got to wind that. It took me quite a long time to wind those. So that's that. So hopefully that will be finished if I ever film another podcast. You might get to see that. If not, I will put pictures of it everywhere, I'm sure. And then the last project that I've got to show you today is inspired by a book, well, a film really. It's inspired by the film The Light Between Oceans, and I read the book, a friend recommended it to me, and I loved it so much. So when the film came out, I didn't get to the cinema to see it, so I bought it on DVD. I just knew I'd love it. It's this film here. It's got Michael Fassbender in it, and Rachel Weisz. It's a really lovely film. It's a really bittersweet story, though. It's a bit of a tearjerker. Anyway, in this film, I don't have a picture, but there's some really lovely knit. And on their first date, she had on a lovely, they were outside by the sea, and she had on a really chunky wool scarf, crochet, real sort of really long, beautiful scarf. And I just thought, oh, I want one. I want to make one. Where can I get one? I had a look on Ravelry, Pinterest, the usual places, and I couldn't find a pattern. Or there obviously is a pattern out there somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So I started making one up myself, and I really want it to be almost like a really long festival, you know, something you can wear outside in the winter, almost bonfire night. So I did about 50,000 swatches trying to get this pattern, and pretty soon I came up with something. Oh, they're all here in a tangle. I came up with something that I was happy with. Doesn't look like much. It's worked up on some Aran, very cheap acrylic, just so that I can see, although it has got wool in it, I can feel. So I thought, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. So then I tried to put it into a shawl, and I've just got swatch after swatch of failed attempts. I tried several ways of working this shawl. So here's one I'll show you. I got the dreaded curly whirlies in this one. You can see as I was increasing, it was just that the increases were too many. And oh, that would make a nice beginning of a top though, wouldn't it? Quite pretty. But also because of the increases, I wasn't getting the sort of fillet pattern that I wanted, and I really wanted these to run straight down the shawl. I was getting myself into such a state. I was drawing, I was calculating. I got cross and left it, and that's when I started my Hotel of Bees shawl. But I picked it up a couple of days later because I really want it. I want to wear it myself. And I went back actually to my original teeny tiny swatch, which I'd got square. Well, this is a rectangle, but you know what I mean. And I just thought, as I was looking at it, I just thought I can see the shawl within that. So I've got the first here, so it's not a very pointy shawl. And then you go out. So I started making it from the bottom up, just working each row in each increase, and I got it. I got what I was after. I don't usually like working shawls from the point up, just because I find they work up so fast to start with, you're all excited, and then they take an age. But in this case, that's how I've done it, and I've got to a point, I've got something that I think is going to work. So here it is. This is my little beginning swatch. So this is going to be the pattern for my Light Between Oceans courtship shawl, I think I'm going to call it. There are quite a few threads actually across the internet. I found a couple on Ravelry about the knitwear in the film. Not many patterns, but some of them are quite funny as well, so it's worth having a look at. So yes, I'm really pleased, and I'm working this one up in this drop snipal. It's an Aran, I think. I'm working it up with a 5.5, I think. 65% wool, 35% alpaca. I do tend to get the itchies when I wear wool. It smells like wool as well. But I think because it's going to be a shawl and it won't be next to my skin, I think this will be fine. It's quite inexpensive as well, this one. So that's what I'm going for, and that's the sort of colour I was looking for, which was similar to it was either that or I like this colour as well. This is more of a grey colour. This is Wendy, I think. This is Wendy Merino, so this is a lot softer. But I'm going to go for the more rustic and see how I get on. that I think will be a really lovely pattern that I will share when I've finished, because I'm excited by it. We will see. So I'm going to try and get that really nice and long and get some tassels on there. So that is the last project that I'm working on, or the ones that I brought out to show you anyway. And I think that's probably it. I haven't really bought any yarn recently. Well, I bought yarn for the shawl, so that's a bit of a lie, isn't it? I bought this in my last Wool Warehouse order, just because I couldn't not buy it really. This is one of the, what's that name again? Sheepsies? I don't know. It's a whirl, it's a cake. I made the virus shawl using a cake a while ago. It was a thicker one though. This is a 4-ply. And I think it's in one of their newer colourways. I think it's called Watermelon. It just starts from this lovely dark, almost black colour. Goes to this lovely peach all the way to this really vibrant, it's not even really showing up, this vibrant pink. I don't really have the time to make anything with this at the moment, but I want to. I think this would make a really lovely shawl. Would it be obsessive of me to start another shawl? No, I don't think so. So that, I bought that, that's lovely, isn't it? Look how much, it's just packed tight. So I'm looking forward to doing something with that, but maybe not until I've finished a few things, because the reason I say I'm a bit obsessed with shawls is because I also found another little pattern that I wanted to make on, I think I found it on Pinterest, it was just a chart. So I bought some of this Rowan fine lace made with merino. This is really, it's got a really nice weave to it. I've not worked with this before, and like I said, I generally don't tend to work with the finer yarns, so I'm having a bit of a moment with those at the moment. So I've bought a couple of those to make another little shawl when I get time. So that's that, and I think that's it for the crochet. I'll tell you a bit, just because I always like to know what people are reading and watching. I'll tell you a bit what I've been reading recently. I'm halfway through The Muse by, who's that by? Jessie Burton. It's one of those books that flicks between time periods, but both of them are really interesting. It's the 60s and the 30s, so they're quite interesting periods in time. It's by the same author that did The Miniaturist. I really liked that, so I am enjoying that. The one I can't put down at the moment is it's a non-fiction. It's called Sapiens. My husband always takes the mick out of me because I say Sapiens. Is that the American way of saying it? I'm not sure. I think this book's been around quite a while, but I saw it somewhere and thought, oh, I'd be interested. It's a brief history of humankind, and it starts right at the beginning, and it's just so interesting. It's fascinating. I mean, there are a few pictures in there, but it's, you know, it is just fascinating. I do find evolution a really fascinating subject, so I haven't been able to put this down. This is the one I've been reaching for most, and yes, I think everyone should read it, really. I think it's just really interesting, and although it doesn't deal with like subjects like racism directly, it almost explains how it's come about, you know, through evolution and that. So yeah, it's really fascinating. I'm really enjoying reading that. And for television, we are watching Dr. Foster again. We love Dr. Foster. When I say we, I'm talking about me and my 17-year-old, because my husband won't watch anything like that with me. We are watching that. She's a bit crazy, isn't she? I'm wondering if I might be like that, if I was put in that situation. I'm not sure. Anyway, and the other thing I've just finished watching is this Big Little Lies, and I have really, really enjoyed watching this. Excuse me. It was on, I think it was on one of those channels that we don't have, maybe Atlantic or something like that. And another friend recommended it to me. There's a book by the same title, apparently, which I haven't read. And but I love these actresses as well, Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon. So when it came out on DVD, I just had to get it. And I think there's about 7 episodes. Each episode is an hour long. It's really gritty. It's really good. It's just a really good story. It's about the three mums and their children, and there's a sort of story running through, you know, about how appearances aren't everything, and they're dealing with things like that. One of the children's being bullied. One of the mum's son is accused of being the bully. It's just a really good series, and yes, I devoured that. That was 7 hours of bliss, really. And it's got the guy, the really handsome one from, he was in True Blood, I think. What's his name? Alexander Skarsgård. Very nice. So that is the other thing I've been watching. And I think that's about it, really. So I hope that this makes it to the light of day. If not, I'm sure my husband will watch it. He's always very complimentary, so if all goes well, I will try and film another one, if I can work out how to edit it and upload it. So hopefully you'll see me again, maybe in a couple of weeks. It depends how much work I get done, really. Yes, I think that's it for now. So see you soon. Thanks for watching if you've actually found this. Yeah, bye for now.